Hi everyone, good evening all of you. This is Dr. Mansi from Homeopathy 360. A very warm welcome to Dr. Arpana Soni ma'am for
Thank
coming
you.
on this platform. We are back again with another session on understanding behavior problems from infancy to adolescence. We are going to understand the behavioral problems, which is a very interesting topic and a very new topic from this series. And we are very glad to have Dr. Arpana Soni ma'am. Let's have a short introduction about Dr. Arpana Soni ma'am. So, ma'am is a distinguished homeopath in Rohini, Delhi, with 27 years of extensive experience in the field of homeopathic medicines, counseling, and family therapy. She earned her BHMS from Baba Farid University of Medical Science, Faridkot, Punjab, further enhancing her expertise. Dr. Soni ma'am completed a post-graduation diploma in counseling and family therapy from Delhi, which equips her with a comprehensive understanding of both medical and psychological aspects of patient care. Throughout her career, Doctor has been dedicated to providing holistic and individualistic treatment plans focusing on the root causes of ailments rather than just the symptoms. And I would like to inform also that Dr. Arpana Soni ma'am also gave clinical insights on her social media, for the more experience and insights and informative information for the physicians as well as the students. We are again we are very excited for this session, and I would like to hand over this mic to Dr. Arpana Soni ma'am. This platform is all yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mansi, and thank you, Homeopath 360, for the credible opportunity to be a speaker on your prestigious platform. And I am grateful for the invitation and excited to share insights and connect with the passionate and vibrant homeopaths. Really looking forward to meaningful learning ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, before starting this session, we want to know, ma'am, why did you choose this topic?
Just because I love kids and I am a mother too. That's why I know कि जब बच्चे बहुत परेशान करते हैं तो पेरेंट्स कितना परेशान होते हैं. That's why I want.
True.
और
Okay, then.
like we all know the vacations are almost there. और इन वेकेशंस में जो होने वाला है ना वो सब पेरेंट्स को पता चलने वाला है.
Yes, ma'am, that's really a true answer. Plus, as the homeopath, we are going to face this problem from the patients, and we know many parents are gonna come to visit their physicians to to understand what is the cause of the behavior of their child, and they are gonna observe many things in their
Yeah,
child
true.
in this vacations.
Yeah, very much true. That's why
Okay, ma'am.
I choose this topic.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay,
Thank
ma'am. We have many participants waiting for your session. Please
you.
begin, ma'am.
Okay. Let's start. First, let's understand behavior of the child. A child is not just growing, they are becoming. And this becoming, they are often a bundle of contradictions. One moment, they defy every rule with fierce rebellion. The next, they withdrawn into silence, paralyzed by invisible fears. They may laugh uncontrollably, then burst into tears without reason. They bite their nails, suck their thumbs, pick their noses, not out of habit, but from inner unrest. Their focus weavers, learning falters, emotions explode or shut down. These are not problem children. These are children in distress, children craving safety, structure, and deep emotional connection. Their world is unstable and they are crying out, not always with words, but with behavior. And this is where homeopathy steps in powerfully, not to suppress symptoms, but to understand the child's whole story. Today, we dive into how this gentle yet profound system can unlock healing in even the most complex behavior patterns. Let's begin. What are behavior problems? Behavior problems refers to a noticeable deviation from age-appropriate or socially expected behavior within a group or setting. These are not simple acts of misbehavior, but often reflect underlying emotional or psychological struggles that disrupt a child's learning, relationships, or self-regulation. Such patterns may include aggression, defiance, withdrawal, or inattention, and are commonly rooted in home or school environments and influenced by parenting style, academic stress और social dynamics. Being homeopaths, we all know कि हम लोग mind symptoms पर कितना ज़्यादा ध्यान देते हैं. And let's check the prevalence of behavior disorders in children in India. It is 2.6 to 30.56%, 7.90% to 16.78% in school-going children, and overall it is 1.2 to 3% of children that are suffering from one or another behavior problem. Prevalence in school-age children is more than 10%, and in adolescents it is 80%. Boys are 4 times more at risk than girls, and urban children are more prone to than rural children. Now, let's start with infants and toddlers, the first step of children. Understanding behavior problems in infants and toddlers. First one, we all get to know about abdominal colic, a cry that speaks of the gut-brain axis. Colic is defined as episodes of excessive, inconsolable crying in an otherwise healthy infant, typically more than 3 hours a day, more than 3 days a week, for over 3 weeks. We know हम इस तरह के बच्चों को हम colicky baby के नाम से भी जानते हैं. Often occurs in the evening, that is witching hours related to gut immunity, overstimulation, or parental anxiety. Not dangerous but deeply distressing for caregivers. We will take homeopathic part in the last of all behavior problems. The next one is stranger anxiety, the price of growing awareness. It is a developmental phase where infant shows fear or distress in the presence of unfamiliar people or when separated from primary caregiver, especially mother, typically emerging around 6 to 9 months. And if it persists, a normal milestone in emotional development shows the formation of attachment and memory can be intense and prolonged if insecure bonding exists. And third one is resistance to feeding, the first silent process of an infant. When an infant persistently refuses breast milk, bottle, or solid food, it often reflects internal discomfort, environmental stressors, or emotional tension in the caregiver infant bond. It may signal digestive distress, oral discomfort, or anxiety. It is an early sign of parent infant interaction issues. It requires gentle handling and parental reassurance. And fourth one is sleep problems in infancy. Many parents come to us कि सुलाने में बहुत दिक्कत होती है, रात को बहुत जल्दी जल्दी उठ जाता है. That is when the rest becomes a struggle. Sleep disturbances in infancy are common, but concerning, often presenting as difficulty, falling asleep, frequent night awakenings, irregular sleep-wake cycles, or shortened total sleep duration. These problems can stem from immature sleep regulation, inconsistent sleep routines, hunger colic, separation anxiety, overstimulation from the environment, lack of bonding, insecure attachment, and parental stress. Sleep is critical for an infant's brain development, emotional regulation, and growth. Persistent sleep problems not only affect child's development but also lead to a parental exhaustion, anxiety, and disrupted. Early identification, establishing a soothing bedtime routine, emotional bonding, and environmental adjustments are key to nurturing healthy sleep patterns. Next, we take behavior problems of children. We are taking here only the common behavior problems. We are not taking here ADHD or autism. What is behavior problem in children? Behavior problems in children are ongoing patterns of affections or emotions that disrupt their social, emotional, or academic life. These often reflect deeper struggles from home, school, or within the child's emotional world. What are the causes of behavior problems? The major causes of behavior problems in children are inadequate family environment, faulty parental attitudes, chronic illness or disability. Negative social influences, impact of mass media. It may be genetic or neurological factors, learned behaviors, cultural and societal shifts, environmental conflict, and cultural pressure. Like family environment, there may be lack of emotional support, inconsistent discipline or dysfunctional home dynamics, in faulty parental attitudes, overprotection, like helicopter parenting, controlling parents. It may be rejection, excessive control or neglect. Chronic illness or disability may be the cause. Negative social influences, exposure to violent, aggressive, or inappropriate content can distort behavior norms. Rapid changes in societal values, inherited vulnerabilities, or neurodevelopmental differences may predispose children to behavior issues. Environmental conflict, there is needs clash with rigid or unresponsive surroundings. Repetitive exposure to negative role models and struggles to meet academic or social expectation can result in emotional and behavior dysregulation. Let's talk about what are the common behavior problems in children. That may be habit disorders, speech problems, sleep problems, eating disorders, educational difficulties, and emotional problems. First, we will take habit disorders. Common habit disorders are thumb sucking, nail biting, tics, enuresis, incorporesis, stealing or kleptomania, compulsive lying, mythomania, breath holding spell, trichotillomania, and bruxism, yani ki teeth grinding. Thumb sucking. Thumb sucking begins as a natural reflex in babies and often continues as a self-soothing mechanism beyond 6 months of age. As 6 to 2 years, the child is in a teething phase. So this is very much normal for that age of children. It may signal insecurity or emotional need, especially when a child feels hungry, sleepy, anxious, or bored. Then why it matters? Though common in infancy, prolonged thumb sucking can lead to dental misalignment, that is malocclusion, speech issues, especially with D and T sounds, thumb deformity, facial changes, gastrointestinal infections from poor hygiene. Behind every thumb sucking child is a silent message that you have to give to parents. I need comfort, respond with empathy, patience, and gentle redirection. Then, nail biting. Nail biting is more than a habit, a silent signal of stress. It is a common oral habit in school age kids linked to tension, anxiety, and self punishment. It can be imitated from parents, may involve all nails or just one, including cuticles and skin. And the signs are altered or worn incisors, red inflamed nail beds, compulsive repeated biting. Behind every bitten nail is a story. Let's listen, not scold. Next one is tics, the body's hidden language. Tics are sudden, rapid, repetitive motor or vocal actions, brief, purposeless, yet emotionally loaded, seen in children aged 2 to 15 years, often as an outlet for stress, anxiety, or suppressed emotions. Let's talk about types of tics. They may be motor or vocal. In motor type of tics, we can see eye blinking, grimacking, jerks. Vocal may coughing, throat clearing, constant throat clearing is there, odd phrases. And when to worry? When there is a transit tic disorder, they may be of short term. And common chronic disorders are persist over a year. Tourette syndrome, multiple motor plus vocal tics, genetic and more in boys. Next one is enuresis. Enuresis is a call for compassion, not criticism. Let's understand what is enuresis. It is the common problem we all have in our OPDs. It is the involuntary passage of urine, mostly at night, in children beyond the age of 4 to 5 years. It affects approximately 12.6% of Indian children. It is not just a physical concern, but a deeply emotional experience that can shake a child's confidence. Types of enuresis: nocturnal, bedwetting at night only; diurnal, only daytime; non-symptomatic enuresis, bedwetting without any other urinary symptoms, that means urgency or frequency. But in monosymptomatic, there are urinary symptoms. Bedwetting is not a flaw. It's a passing phase with love and sport. Every child can rise resilient and confident. Next one is ancopresis. Ancopresis is that voluntary or intentional passage of feces in appropriate places after the age of 4 to 5 years. It may indicate emotional or behavior disturbances, not just bowel dysfunction. It affects 1% of school-age children too, but its emotional and social impact is significant. And what about the signs? Signs are abdominal distension, soiling, tension, diarrhea due to overflow, social withdrawal, aggression, and diagnosis can be done by detailed bowel history, toilet habits, physical examination, and psychological assessment. Our next topic is kleptomania. Kleptomania means stealing. It is an impulse control disorder. It is marked by a repeated, irresistible urge to steal items that are not needed for personal use or value. The act provides brief relief but is followed by a guilt or shame. Who is affected? It is more common in women, that is in ratio of 3:1, can begin as early as childhood or late adulthood. Stealing is unplanned and done alone. Items are often discarded, hidden, or donated. Next is compulsive lying or mythomania. When lies speak louder than pain, what it is? It is compulsive lying. It is a compulsive urge to lie excessively, without reason, without logic or gain, also called mythomania or pseudologia fantastica. Its signs are chronic habitual lying, fantastical or dramatic stories, lies with no clear motive, belief in their own fabrications. They believe in their own stories कि वो जो बोल रहे हैं that is true. Contradictory and shifting narratives, defensive or emotional when questioned. Pathological lying is not about fooling others, it's about hiding pain. Breath holding spells. Brief involuntary pauses in breathing seen in children aged 6 months to 6 years. Now, types of spell. Cyanotic, it is also known as blue spells, triggered by emotions that may be anger, crying, frustration, and pattern is loud cry, breath held in expiration. Skin turns blue. Brief unconsciousness may occur. Rapid recovery with normal breathing. And second type is pallid, pale spells, trigger pain or sudden fright. For example, fall, pattern is gasp or weak cry, skin turns pale, fainting due to reflex slowing of heart, quick return to normal, no after effects. And how you can recognize them? Sudden silence after crying, blue or pale skin, brief fainting, jerky body movements, rapid recovery within seconds. Next one is trichotillomania, that is pulling of hairs. It is a behavior disorder where a person feels a strong, uncontrollable urge to pull out their own hair. It causes emotional distress and affects daily life. It usually starts between ages 10 to 13, affects boys and girls equally in childhood. In adults, it is more common in women, that is 9:1 ratio, affects 0.5% to 3.4% of adults in their lifetime. Signs are repeated hair pulling leading to noticeable hair loss, inability to stop despite multiple attempts, emotional or social distress, embarrassment, anxiety, avoidance, not explained by another medical or psychiatric condition. Next one is bruxism. Bruxism is teeth grinding. An involuntary habit, common yet often overlooked. We already know what is teeth grinding. We already associate it with only worms, but there is something more. What is teeth grinding? Unconscious clenching or grinding of teeth often occurs during sleep, especially in school-going children. Can affect adults too, both during day and night. Some remain symptom-free, while others suffer from jaw pain, headaches, tooth sensitivity, or even damage too. Causes: worms, disturbing dreams or nightmares, emotional stress, tension, or suppressed aggression, neurological conditions like meningitis or encephalitis, more common in mentally challenged or developmentally delayed children. Now, we are starting another disorders, eating disorders. First one is anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and pica is also there. Anorexia nervosa. It is a serious and potentially life-threatening eating disorder marked by a voluntary refusal to eat, intense fear of gaining weight, and a distorted body image. Despite being underweight, individuals perceive themselves as overweight and go to extreme lengths to lose weight. They may severely restrict food intake, especially fats and carbohydrates, or engage in the binge eating, followed by self-induced vomiting or misuse laxatives, diuretics, or excessive exercise to maintain a dangerously low body weight. The disorder most commonly begins between the ages of 10 to 19 years with a rising incidence seen in 7% to 12% of adolescent girls and boys. आप सबने शायद इन दिनों में न्यूज़ भी सुनी होगी कि 3-4 जो हैं इस तरह के एनोरेक्सिया के पेशेंट्स जो हैं उनकी डेथ हो गई थी. Now, next one is bulimia nervosa, the vicious binge purge cycle. It is an eating disorder marked by episodes of uncontrolled binge eating, followed by compensatory behaviors like self-induced vomiting, excessive exercise, or laxative use to prevent weight gain. Though body weight may appear normal, the person suffers from intense guilt, fear of weight gain, and this is the cause of their binge eating and a distorted body image. Bulimia affects around 1.5% to 2.5% of females with lower rates in males, and it is the most common between ages of 13 to 30 years. Timely psychological support and medicinal support and therapy are essential to break this cycle. Now, pica. Pica is craving the inedible. Pica is a habit disorder marked by persistent eating of non-nutritive substances for over 1 month at an age when it is developmentally inappropriate. Mouthing of zest is normal up to 2 years due to teething. Beyond that, repeated ingestion is abnormal and may indicate pica. Commonly eaten items are clay, chalk, soil, ash, paint flakes, plaster, pencil tips, fabric, paper, wool, hair, glass, and even ice too. And associated problems may be intestinal parasites, liver poisoning, anemia, vitamin or mineral deficiencies. Next, we will talk on speech disorders, that is stammering or stuttering, cluttering, delayed speech, dyslexia. Stammering. Involuntary pauses. It is a speech fluency disorder that typically begins between the ages of 2 to 5 years, often triggered by a child's difficulty in adjusting to their environment or emotional stress. It is marked by involuntary disruptions in the natural flow of speech, such as repetitions, prolongation of syllables or sounds, especially of initial consonants, and silent pauses or speech blocks. These interruptions are not under the child's control and may increase during moments of pressure, anxiety, or excitement. Next speech disorder is cluttering, the overloaded speech pattern. It is speech fluency disorder marked by unclear, rapid, and disorganized speech, where words seem to tumble over one another in a rushed manner. These children often display awkward, uncoordinated body movements involving the hands, feet, and overall posture. Beyond speech, cluttering reflects deeper challenges, erratic behavior, poorly organized thoughts, and disordered personality patterns. These signs point to an urgent need for psychotherapy and structured behavior support to help the child communicate and function more effectively. Next one is delayed speech, a developmental red flag. When a child's speech is delayed beyond 3 to 3.5 years, it may signal underlying organic or psychological causes. Conditions such as intellectual disability, that is mental retardation, infantile autism, hearing impairments, or severe emotional disturbances must be carefully evaluated. Early identification and accurate diagnosis are crucial for timely and effective intervention, as each underlying cause demands a tailored therapeutic approach. Next one is dyslexia, when words struggle to take shape. It is one of the most common speech disorders characterized by difficulty in articulation, where a child struggles to pronounce words clearly. This may result from structural abnormalities of the teeth, jaw, or palate, or can stem from emotional deprivation during early development. Effective management requires timely correction of the structural issues and consistent speech therapy. See the struggle, sport the solution. Excuse me. Now, sleep disorders. Sleepwalking, that is somnambulism, sleep talking, somniloquy, nightmares and night terrors. Somnambulism, that is night walking. This is a common sleep disorder and also called sleepwalking. In this condition, children are aware of environment during the episode only, but indifferent to it. When these children once awake, they will forget everything about episodes. Nowadays, in India, several families are suffering from somnambulism. It occurs in about 5 to 8% of children. Next is somniloquy. This is a sleep disorder in which child talks during sleep. These children talk irregularly and gives the gap. Same likes conversations. Parents when observe they feels the child is talking with somebody. Child gives good facial expression also. Nightmares. In this disorder, child awakens due to a frightening bad dream and child conscious about surroundings. Nightmares associated with dreams. And in night terrors, child awakens during sleep, sits up with screaming and terrified to recognize the surrounding. And after some time, child sleeps against his or her bed. The terror may last for 12 to 20 minutes. And it could be managed very beautifully by light dinner and soothing stories before bed, no exciting games, scary tales or vivid images at night, physical and verbal reassurance until child feels safe. Parents stay calm and create a cozy, emotionally nurturing space, secure doors as windows for their safety. Our next problem is educational problems, that is school phobia, attention deficit disorders, that is ADD, absenteeism or truancy. School phobia. It is not a laziness, it's an emotional disorder where children feel terrified to leave their parents, especially their mothers. It peaks during age almost 3 to 6, age 11 to 12, shifting phases, age 14 to 16, teen turbulence, triggers, overprotective parenting, fear of separation, bullying or harsh school environment, learning difficulties, lack of emotional support. Over 3.6% of children experience school refusal. Most have underlying depression, that is 26.7% in numbers, or anxiety 7.7%. It's not attention seeking, it's a attention needing problem. Early help can make a world of difference. Let's stop labeling and start listening to them. Attention deficit disorder. More than just being distracted, ADD is a neurodevelopmental condition often linked to CNS disinfection or psychoeducational challenges. Common signs are poor focus, memory and learning, delayed speech and languages, hyperactivity, impulsiveness, irritability and temper tantrums, struggles in relationships and social adjustment. Possible triggers are premature birth, brain injury, genetic and environmental factors. These children need understanding, not labeling. Now, the most trending problem, that is absenteeism and truancy. This is the silent crisis in education. Truancy is the deliberate, unauthorized absence from school, including skipping individual classes. It often reflects underlying emotional, social, or environmental struggles and can seriously impact a child's academic and personal growth. Now, key drivers of absenteeism or truancy: school based triggers, weak attendance policies, poor record keeping, punitive measures, suspensions, and harsh discipline can deepen student disengagement. Lack of parental alerts. Absences may go unnoticed at home without timely communication. Negative teacher student dynamics. And home and community influences on truancy are family illness or financially stress. Students may miss school to care for family members or contribute to income. Abuse or neglect, unsafe or unstable home environments make school a lower priority. Teen pregnancy or parenting. Parenting duties often conflict with regular school attendance. Parental addiction, home chaos due to substance use, disrupts routines and responsibilities. Peer influence, friends modeling or encouraging truancy normalize the behavior. Parental disengagement, lack of interest or value placed on education at home affects student motivation. Now, there is emotional problems, tantrums, shyness, fear. Tantrum, it is a sudden explosion of anger, frustration, and resistance, often seen in young children. It may include crying, screaming, rolling on the floor, hitting, kicking, biting, throwing objects, stiff body, banging limbs, or yelling loudly. It's the child's ways of expressing overwhelming emotions when words fail. Tantrum reflects emotional overload, not defense. They need calm, not control. Another emotional problem is shyness. It stems from deep self consciousness, fear of judgment, low self esteem, and a constant worry about rejection. It creates emotional discomfort, especially in new settings or around strangers, often silencing one's true self and stunting social growth. If left unchecked, it can lead to social anxiety. Let's understand the root and manifest. Identifies what causing the child's shyness. Open communication, gently talk and listen without judgment, create safe social space, arrange small peer gatherings to build comfort, avoid criticism, do not highlight mistakes or compare with others, stop comparing, positive reinforcement, praise efforts and small victories, nurture talents, help the child discover and develop their strengths, boost confidence, encourage without pushing to socialize, let growth be gentle. Compassion and patience are the keys to help a shy child bloom. Next is fear. It is a sudden, unpleasant emotion triggered by real or perceived danger. It protects us but can become harmful if it grows into overwhelming anxiety. Separation from parents sparks fear. Common fears are darkness, being alone, bad dreams, responses. Young children cry, hide, or run away. Older kids hide fear behind nervous habits like nail biting. Tip: teach children that fear of real dangers, cars, fire, sharp objects is smart, not shameful. Accepting fear helps them stay safe and strong. Now, behavior problems of adolescents, juvenile delinquency, masturbation, substance abuse, oppositional defiant disorder, that is ODD. Juvenile delinquency, a growing concern, repeated unlawful or antisocial behavior by children, such as theft, truancy, running away, fighting, vandalism, or even violent crimes too. Causes are broken or disturbed families, poor living conditions, lack of education and recreation, media influence and shifting values, school neglect, and weak discipline. Prevention: a loving family environment. Give your child emotional support and guidance, access to education, sports, and play, strong teacher student bonds, rehabilitation if whenever is they needed, counseling and care, support from family, teachers, and professionals, referral to child guidance clinics, focus on behavior change and social integration. Every child deserves a second chance with care, not punishment. Next is masturbation in children, teens, a natural exploration. Masturbation is a normal part of growing up, especially in adolescence, as the baby and emotions evolve. It's not harmful when done in moderation and without guilt. As doctors and caregivers, our duty is to offer facts, not fear. It only becomes a concern if it disrupts daily routine life, causes distress, or masks deeper emotional struggles. In therapy, we focus on understanding underlying cause, not judgment, replacing guilt with guidance. Next is substance abuse. It is not just a habit, it's a battle against your own health and future. It means repeated use of harmful substances that damage your body, mind, and relationships. Prevent it now with those powerful steps. Create fun, safe spaces for recreation and entertainment. Guide youth towards positive and meaningful activities. Educate students, teachers, and families on the dangers of drug abuse. Provide regular mental health support and counseling in schools. Enforce strict drug control policies with zero tolerance. Offer emotional support to youth and reduce stress and confusion. Deliver effective therapy, de addiction, and rehabilitation programs together. We can protect our future generation. Say no to substance abuse, say yes to life. ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. Not just being ODD, it is a serious behavior disorder marked by a persistent pattern of defiance, disobedience, and hostility towards authority, mainly in children and teens. And core features are defiance and non-compliance, refusing rules and instructions, argumentative, constantly challenging adults, angry and irritable, frequent temper tantrums, quick to frustration, vindicative, spiteful behavior, seeking revenge. And sets ODD apart? Persistent or severe, symptoms last 6+ months, much more than the occasional misbehavior. Disruptive impact interferes with school, home, and social life. Clinical diagnosis is based on strict criteria, that is DSM-5 or ICD, not just temperament or mood swings. Beyond tantrums, beyond trouble, ODD is a real challenge. Now, let's start with the management strategies for behavioral issues. First one is emotional support and safe environment. Behind every behavior is a silent emotion asking to be heard. Stay calm. Create a loving, secure, and non judgmental environment. Addresses the child needs. Avoid shame or scolding. Reassure both child and parents. Positive reinforcement. Celebrate small victories. Use star charts. Focus on presence, not absence. Replace punishment with encouragement. Engage through distraction and redirection. Keep hands and minds busy with creative play, especially in thumb sucking and nail biting. Use alternative tasks to break habits. Redirect tantrums. Identify triggers and early signs. Recognize the root cause of behaviors. Track patterns. Seek early intervention with a psychological or counselor whenever needed. Creative engagement helps convert habits into healthy outlets. Parent training and supervision is also necessary to treat or manage behavior problems. Involve parents actively. Educate them about developmentally appropriate behaviors. Provide emotional counseling. Monitor screen time, peer interaction. Structure routines and hygiene practices. Encourage bedtime voiding and reduce late evening fluids. For analysis, wake the child once at a night if needed. Maintain hand hygiene to prevent infections in habit disorders like pica or thumb sucking. Foster consistent meal, play, and sleep schedules. Professional and medical support, deworming, nutritional correction, and supplements if required, psychotherapy or cognitive behavior therapy, habit reversal therapy for compulsive behaviors like trichotillomania, group therapy or peer counseling for support and shared understanding, school and social integration. Avoid punishment for absenteeism. Instead, offer support. Ask for reasons. Build a positive school culture through reward-based attendance programs, providing school alternatives like mentoring, library time, or activity clubs instead of suspensions. Connect children to interest-based learning to enhance management. Every behavior is a form of communication with empathy, structure, and support. Every child can learn, grow, and thrive. Now, homeopathic part. Homeopathic lends to little lives. Homeopathy sees beyond symptoms. It listens to the child's silent stories. Every cry, fear, habit, or hug speaks of a deeper inner need. This section brings you the soul of each remedy in the form of a baby, raw, real, and ready to be understood. Step in not to diagnose, but to feel who they are. Let's meet them with the heart of a healer and the eyes of a mother. Being homeopaths, we all know the importance of constitutional homeopathic remedies. Constitutional homeopathic remedies work at the root level, offering real transformation. I have compiled the constitutional types of babies to help homeopaths recognize early patterns and prescribe effectively. Let's move beyond superficial prescribing. When you treat constitutionally, you don't just manage behavior, you nurture lifelong balances. Let's start with the homeopathic part. First one is Chamomilla child, the angry little monarch, always irritable, screams still carried, then demands something new. One cheek red, one pale, can't tolerate slightest pain. Demands twice, throws them angrily, wants everything, enjoys nothing. And we can give chamomilla in feeding problems, sleeping problems, colic, tantrums, breath holding spells. And next one is Sina child, the defiant fighter, strikes, kicks, screams when looked at. Wormy child, grinds teeth, scratches anus, nose picking, eyes sparkle with rebellion. This medicine is very much have importance in colic, feeding, sleep disorders, and in bruxism, nose picking, that is mucophagia. Next one is Calcaria carbonica child. Calcaria carbonica child is the chubby philosopher, fat, fair, and full of fear of falling dark animals, sweaty hand during sleep, sluggish milestone, craves eggs, loves routine, a wonderful medicine for pica, especially for clay, chalk, and soil, and dyslalia, incorporesis, speech problems, delayed speech, thumb sucking, nail biting, kleptomania, anuresis, and then Bretta maybe. The timid turtle, shy, dependent, slow in learning, fears strangers, avoids eye contact, emotionally immature and physically delayed. This medicine have a very much importance in shyness problems, delayed milestones, school phobia, developmental stages, stammering. And next is Pulsatilla child. The sweet clinger, gentle, tearful, changes mood quickly, craves affection and cuddling, hates being alone, craves sweets, dislikes greasy food. We can prescribe Pulsatilla in tantrum, sleep problems, anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, kleptomania, anuresis. And for kleptomania, it is the medicine of first grade. Then Ignitia child, the moody dreamer, laugh, sobs, sighs, all in one breath, sensitive to scolding, suppresses emotions, eat poorly after emotion upsets. A very good medicine for bulimia anorexia, kleptomania, alcoholism, trichotillomania, and anuresis. Medorrhinium child, the wild hurricane, hyperactive, fearless, and secretive, sleeps in knee chest position, craves oranges, eyes, early sexual curiosity. This medicine is for ODD, ADD, kleptomania, masturbation, self harm, mythomania, juvenile delinquency, trichotillomania. And next is Stromonium child, the frightened fighter, terrified of dark, being alone or water, screams suddenly, wild-eyed, clings tightly, night terrors with violent thrashing. Stramonium can be given in, if matches symptomatically, in nightmares and terrors, tantrums, tics, kleptomania, juvenile delinquency, substance abuse, ODD, trichotillomania, stammering, dyslalia. Next one is belladonna. Belladonna child, the fiery storm, sudden high fevers, hot, head, cold limbs, dilated pupils, flushed face, talks nonsense in sleep, aggressive or imaginative during fever. We can prescribe belladonna in somnolurky, sleep talking, ODD, ADD, anger, tantrum. It is again the first grade medicine for kleptomania and encopresis. Next one is sulfur child, the curious rebel, dirty, hates baths, hates restrictions, talks early, curious, questions everything, hungry at 11 a.m., keeps uncovered. Sulfur covers almost all behavior problems, whatever it be. It may be habit disorders, eating disorders, emotional, educational disturbances, or adolescents though. Next is Lycopodium child. The mini ruler. Bossy at home, shy in public, craves sweets, hates cold food, want warm food, bloated belly, jealous of siblings, worst in evening, that is 4 to 8 p.m. Lycopodium can be given for stranger anxiety, nail biting, school phobias, that is educational disorders, stammering, absenteeism, truancy, tantrums, anorexia, bulimia, kleptomania, and juvenile delinquency. Then is Netromure child, the silent sufferer. Netromure child is withdrawn, quiet, hides tears, grieves silently, hates consolation, craves salts, and avoid eye contacts. It can be prescribed in cases of fears, educational problems, shyness, nail biting. Netromure never ever failed me in the cases of nail biting and thumb sucking. It works like a wonder. Anorexia, bulimia, dyslexia, and absenteeism. Cilicia child, the shy perfectionist, thin, chilly, sweaty head, delayed dentition, constipated, despite soft tools, mild but intelligent, needs encouragement. We can use Cilicia in cases of shyness, nail biting, absenteeism or truancy, pica, thumb sucking, school phobia, due to academic pressure, low confidence, and encopresis. Next, Vretram album child, the demanding diva, wants attention, admiration, and power. Screams till wishes are fulfilled. Cold sweat on forehead during fever. This medicine can be used in mythomania, kleptomania, पैगोफेजिया की ये फर्स्ट ग्रेड की मेडिसिन है. Tantrums, juvenile delinquency, nail biting, encopresis. Then Heisman's child, the naughty clown, causeless giggles, excessive talking, imposes itself, jealous of sibling, show early sexual behavior, and craves for attention. Heisman's child is kleptomaniac. We can prescribe in masturbation, tics, tantrums, juvenile delinquency, hyalophagia. Hyalophagia is that craves for glass in pica, and corpophagia, eating feces, urophagia, drinking urine, and cluttering. Next one is Tarantula hispanica child. The fast and furious, incessantly moving, dancing, jerking, fast gestures, extremely cunning, mischievous, and theatrical. Music calms them, uncontrollable excitement. Tarantula is a very good medicine for ADD, ODD. And for ODD, it is a single medicine. Tics, tantrums, kleptomania, mythomania, juvenile masturbation, juvenile delinquency, then carcinosin. The polished performer, too good to perfect, over affectionate, fastidious, loves dancing, music, animals, history of suppression, cancer, diabetes in family, may suddenly become destructive if overwhelmed. Then it becomes the very good medicine for night terror, lies, bedwetting. Arsenic album child, a very irritable, the anxious organizer, restless, anxious, needs order and cleanliness, cries from insecurity, clings to mother, very sensitive to cold, thirst for sips of water. It can be given for fears, stranger anxiety, ODD, ADD, and educational disorders, tantrums, and nail biting. Alumina child, the disconnected one, emotionally dull, slow in reaction, constipated without urge, forgets what to do, may show detachment or lack of identity early on. Very good medicine for pica, developmental delays, and encopresia. Next one is syphilium child, the nighttime crier. Sleeps during day, cries all night, destructive tendencies even in play, history of repeated infections, congenital issues, compulsive behaviors, and hidden guilts. It is a very good medicine for nightmares and night terrors, fears, kleptomania, ADD, delayed speech, compulsive lying, juvenile delinquency, and trichotillomania. Next one is To the Child, the fragile secret. Keep her silent, shy, and emotionally hidden, feels unloved, fears rejection, clings to fantasies, avoids crowds, recurrent colds, and post vaccine issues. Thuza can be given in mythomania for fear problems, shyness, stranger anxiety, compulsive lying, and more if patient tell कि post vaccine इसको ये issue हुआ है, then Thuza is the best medicine. Next is Nux vomica child, the little perfectionist boss, sharp, fussy, and quick to anger, hates disturbances, loves routine, cries if things don't just go right. It is a very good medicine for irritability, fears, ODD, ADD, kleptomania, mythomania, tantrums, encopresis, educational problems, and most effective is in substance abuse. Then, tuberculinum child, the wild soul seeking freedom, a restless fire in a tiny frame, never satisfied, always seeking more, throws toys, rejects food, craves new places, new faces, new thrills, sleeps little, screams in dreams, fears confinement, defend, intense and emotional, switches from love to rage in seconds, born to break boundaries, resist routine, and roam free, sensitive, intelligent, and untamed. Tuberculinum can be prescribed in cases of ADD, ODD, in feeding problems, sleeping problems, nightmares and night terrors, tantrums, fear, or especially of dogs, educational problems, speech problems. Basically, in all behavior problems, there is a bonus tip too. When no remedy holds for long and the picture shifts too fast, tuberculinum often unlocks the case, especially when there is a history of family of tuberculosis or inherited weakness. I've compiled some specific medicines for pica for all of you. That is mucophagy, nose picking, eating nose mucus, sina, sulfur, or amphotericin. Amylophagia, that is eating starch or raw rice, phosphorus, Staphysagrina, alumina. Geophagy, that is eating soil, chalk, paper, ashes, or clay. Alumina, calcarea, nitric acid, and tarantula. Tarantula is a specific medicine for the children who ate ashes. And nitric acid is for those who eat papers. Trichophagia, eating hair or wool, lachesis or silicea. Pagophagia, eating ice, vretrum or natrum sulf. Coprophagy, eating feces, hyosmus. Hyalophagia, eating glass, then again hyosmus. Medorrhinium, syphilinum, thuza, lachesis, and anacardium. Urophagia, drinking urine, hyosmus, medorrhinium, syphilinum, thuza, lachesis, and anacardium. Healing begins when we listen together. There are some specific medicine too. Like for aneurisys, we can prescribe ecuresis, crizotam, and sepia. Causticum for involuntary passage of stool. Then trichotillomania, acid floricum is the best medicine. Acid phosphor, education problems. Substance abuse, Curcus acid sulfuricum. For slattering, Spigelia and causticum are the best medicines. Absinthe for stilling or kleptomania. Opium and morphinum lies good in mythomania cases. Then buforana is for masturbation, nail biting, or amphitriflum, and anacardium is a very good medicine for juvenile delinquency if your symptoms matches. That's all from my side. Thank you for being so patient listeners. Always remember empathy, expertise, empowerment, the pillars of healing. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for such informative and such a wonderful session.
Thank you.
You have taught us so many drugs and presented so many problems, behavior problems in children. Really, ma'am, the session was really very helpful for the physician and students as well.
Thank you.
So, if anybody has any query or they can ask in the question and answer box, we will definitely clear. So, ma'am, we have one question
Okay.
from Dr. Vayan Rao. Dear Dr. Arpana Shuni, ma'am, how to deal with the cases if milking children
In?
should milking children? I think
Okay.
that's should mothers of such children observe any eating or drinking restrictions?
No. If a child is gaseous, then we have to prescribe, then we have to give them diet for mothers too.
Yes, that's right. Next, we have doubt of Poonam. Is thumb sucking should be treated in age of 1 or 2 years?
No, 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 not at all. It is a developmental phase. The child may feel itching due to teething.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Always prescribe your child patients in the age group of 4 to 2 up to 2 years. BC21. We have biocombination 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
BC 21 for what, ma'am?
For teething problems.
Teething problems. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Okay. Next, we have Dr. Bharat is asking what are possible remedies for abusive cursing children?
We have Hyosmus, Stramonium, Vetramelbum. Very good medicines.
Okay. Next, Vidit is asking, will there be a recording? Yes, recording will be there on the YouTube Homeopathy 360 channel. You can visit the YouTube channel and you will find the recording, all the recordings of the webinar series. So Dr. Vayan Rao is saying excellent and very informative session.
Thank you, Dr. Rai.
That is true. Next, we have delay speech in which age? So I think they want to ask at what age we will consider the delay speech.
In between 3.5 to 4 years.
Okay, yes. Next, Poonam is again asking what prophylaxis should be used for worms?
We can use Sina 200. I use Sina 200 as a prophylaxis.
Okay. There is a question asking what is helicopter parenting?
Helicopter parenting. Helicopter parenting is what all the parents are doing in this era.
Yes.
Like controlling
Mm-hmm.
and authoritative.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? So we have another doubt. There is maternal history in all cases during conception we saw nowadays in autism cases also. But how does maternal history helps in finding similima? What symptoms should we take from maternal history to select similima for our patient or the maternal history is to help differentiate? Can you explain with a short example, ma'am? It will help beginners like me to take care with better understanding and selecting remedy. Isha is asking.
Whenever we take the case, our history should be on their from pregnancy to delivery. Maternal history contains all these aspects. How their pregnancy was there any fear, was there any conflict, was there any fights with partners on a house, are they in any type of stress, like that.
Okay, ma'am.
Hmm.
Next, Lila is asking, right? Hemiparesis treatable homeopathically in 9 months old infant.
Your voice is not clear, Dr. Mansi.
Right. Yeah, just Now, ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Yes. So, ma'am, another doubt is right family places. Is it treatable in 9 months old baby?
Your voice is breaking. Let
Now,
me check in question.
hello.
Uh,
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible to you now?
now ask your question again, please.
Yes, ma'am. So, one question is that is right hemiparesis treatable homeopathically in 9 months old infant?
It can be. It all depends on symptoms.
Okay. Avasti is asking what remedy can be given to pregnant women to prevent inheritance of maternal and paternal disease to fetus.
I don't think so. There is any medicine to prevent all this. Make pregnant lady happy
Yeah.
and she will deliver a happy child. But if there is any disease that runs in families, then we can think of.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am. It is already important that we keep the mental state of the mother
Hmm.
during her pregnancy. It should be
Yeah,
happy.
right.
Next, Dr. Manoj is saying very informative session.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj.
And Erika Vaz is also saying very informative session.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next, we have a question. When a behavior problem is due to environment of home and child mimicking it, then how much a medicine can help in those cases?
Instead of medicine, I will recommend ki for counseling of parents and child both.
Yes.
It will happen. Hello,
Yes, ma'am.
am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
It would help them more than medicine.
Okay, ma'am. I think we have much questions and we have covered all of the doubts. Now, I would
Okay.
like to ask that how was the ma'am experience of what? How was your experience?
It was very good, literally.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we are
You
really
have
very
to
glad.
come again.
Thank you, ma'am. We are really very glad and happy that you have taught us so many drugs and so many cases.
Thank you very much.
This session will be very helpful to all of us. Either we are homeopath, either we are general homeopathic
Yeah.
lover. For the parents also, this session will be very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you to our audience also.
Yeah. Thanks to audience for being so impatient.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Okay, okay, ma'am, it's time to.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank you again.
thank you.